Hey, what is going on, crypto people? So here's the deal. Listen, there comes a point in time in your life where you got to realize that you have to draw a line in the sand. You have to draw a line in the sand and make a decision on where you stand, right? You got to make a decision where you stand, right? Because you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything. And there's this obvious thing here with this guy, John Reed Stark, who is obviously trying to throw a wet blanket, if you will, on the digital asset space in this new financial system. And so I have made a decision that I am no longer going to put up with the likes of John Reed Stark and those people who would allow you or would put you in a position to question whether or not you want to participate in this new financial system as the digital asset space, what we most call the fourth industrial revolution, a new asset class being built right in front of us. So John put this out, I don't know, sometime earlier today. In my honest opinion, these kinds of financial panacea cry-outs and advertisements are all so incredibly disturbing, unscrupulous and shameless, but it will not last. The investor carnage left behind by the after the collapses of Terra, Voyager, FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, so many speaks volumes as to the grift and chicanery of it all. People are beginning to understand that crypto is all one man's Ponzi scheme, but that the crypto emperor has no clothes. Think about this, right? And as for the cryptoverse, my take is that winter is coming. So I'm going to cover a couple of things from Caitlin Long, a couple of things from the SEC, and you make your decision. You have to draw the line in the sand for yourself. Are you going to continue to resolve, or are you going to continue to live in the greatest Ponzi scheme ever perpetuated on man, which is the fiat US dollar system? Or are you going to choose a new system and a new financial system where you get to choose your own money, you get to choose the monetary policy that comes along with it, and you get to choose where you store your money? Part of the US dollar fiat Ponzi scheme are United States regulators. John Deaton reposted here. Leo Schwartz posted, the SEC is faking. The ACC is facing a rare rebuke and sanctions from a federal judge for misrepresenting facts in a crypto case. This is United States government. Don't be misled by just the three letters. This is United States government. The judge accused the agency. The judge accused the government of materially false and misleading representations. John reposted that and says this: any person surprised a federal judge is considering sanctions against the SEC for lying to the court in a case involving crypto has not been paying attention during the last 3 years. The United States government lying to a federal judge in court. That's what that is. It's not some dude who's some attorney. It appears the lawyers at the SEC have made it personal when it comes to crypto cases. SEC lawyers like Jorge Tenrero and Gubert Gural, what's his name? Yeah, Gubert Gural, don't hesitate to intentionally mislead the court, despite federal judges calling out the SEC, including a judge saying SEC lawyers lack a faithful allegiance to the law. You know, a dude who ran Terra Luna, a dude who ran Celsius, a dude who ran FTX has a standard and a law to abide by without question. There's a standard and there's a law to abide by the dude at Celsius, the dude at FTX, the dude at Terra. But the United States government has a higher bar, or at least it's supposed to. and federal judges are calling out the United States government agencies. You got to get that. All right. And the SEC blatantly ignoring congressional requests. United States government blatantly ignoring congressional requests. The Financial Committee is hesitant to issue a congressional subpoena. Patrick McHenry, sir, you and others, by sitting on that committee, know the oath you took requires that you conduct congressional oversight over Gary Gensler and the SEC. Even Democrats like Richie Torres, Congressman Richie Torres, have recognized that Gensler and the SEC are out of control. It's so bad, federal judges are threatening sanctions. Think about this. There's a government agency attacking this new financial system. Why? You have to take a moment and pause and ask yourself why. I would encourage you to stop thinking that it's just crypto, that it's just an exchange, that it's just a founder of a company. They're going after this new financial system that's being built. And we must ask ourselves, why? All right. So, all right. I realize the subpoena has never been issued to the SEC, says John Deaton. I realize you respect tradition and congressional norms. But what more must happen before serving a subpoena? If you're concerned the SEC will ignore it and force litigation, so be it. Litigate it, says John. Have faith in the courts. You will win, and the precedent you establish will blow a huge hole in the barrier protecting the gross overreach of the administrative state. The government agency is trying to protect the Ponzi scheme that is the United States-led fiat dollar system. It's not all of the government, but it is the government. Who do you think is giving the SEC this blessing to do so? You think they're just arbitrarily waking up one morning and deciding to do this? Of course not. It's Elizabeth Warren, and she's getting her marching orders from the current administration. So that's one thing you can consider. Here's the other thing. Well, let me just share this part. Let me do this one first. Breaking. Reverse repo operations today fell over $100 billion. Money market, parentheses, mutual funds and banks use the repo and reverse repo to stash cash in highly liquid United States Treasury notes. This allows them to receive the Fed funds rate at 0.5% APR plus 0.5% APR and overnight loans in exchange for T-bills and do the opposite the following day. The Fed has implemented new increased initial margin requirements that have raised the minimum capital level required for America's top financial institutions. As liquidity is sucked out of the system by the RRP, this leaves banks with less capital as a repo, with which to meet margin collateral requirements. This has the potential to cause a fire sale of assets should the banks be margin called by the DTC, OCC, NSCC, etc., and or the hedge funds and family offices to which said banks lend shares and cash to be margin called by their prime broker or bank. We are seeing the beginnings of a liquidity crisis. Meanwhile, the Fed has only unwound 10% of their mortgage-backed securities valued over $2.7 trillion. A housing correction has begun as new home sale prices are down 20% year over year. Existing home sale numbers have collapsed to 2009 levels. An existing home supply has just begun to increase. Banks have a massive amount of residential and commercial mortgage-backed securities and a value at risk for the top United States banks of over $719 billion. Meanwhile, Goldman has 45% of the deposits uninsured by the FDIC. And JP Morgan has 55% uninsured. They're all betting on a federally funded bailout with your money in the face of the possibility of the worst recession and stagflation this country has ever seen due to the Ponzi scheme that is exacerbated by the second level of C-19 money printing bailouts given to institutions in 2020 in response to the collapse of the RRP on September 19th of 2019. That was the sleight of hand. The sleight of hand was making it seem like this money was going to us retail people, everyday average Joes, where in reality, in the background, they were giving it to these institutions. When the Fed had to take over the repo operations to prevent a full-blown stock market collapse at that time. These are the death throes of a monetary system, Ponzi scheme, that will have an inevitable impact on the global economy and all of our finances, even if invisible at first glance, much like the inflation of the last 2 years. Let me read that again. These are the death throes of a monetary system, Ponzi scheme, that will have an inevitable impact on the global economy and all of our finances, even if invisible at first glance, much like the inflation of the last 2 years. Silver lining, he suggests, question mark. Heavily shorted stocks, funds, and precious metals tend to skyrocket in times like this. So you can stand on the line with this dude, or you can stand on the side of the line with the crypto siege. This is what I retweeted out. First of all, I reposted this, and then I said this. People are beginning to understand, this is John Reed Stark's quote, unquote. People are beginning to understand that crypto is all one mammoth Ponzi scheme and that the crypto emperor has no clothes. I said, yeah, John, because this is clearly a better option. And I go on to say, and as for the fiat dollar Ponzi scheme, my take is winter is coming.
I think we have the ability to create, simply flooded the system with money. Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did. Where does it come from? Do you just print it? We print it digitally. So we as a central bank, we have the ability to create money. Simply.
As a central bank, we have an ability to just create money. Now, that's not a Ponzi scheme. That won't lead to ultimate devastation. It's crypto. That's the problem.
Flooded the system with money. Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did. Where does it come from? Do you just print it? We print it digitally. So we as a central bank, we have the ability to create money digitally. And we do that by buying treasury bills or bonds or other government guaranteed securities. And that actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency and we distribute that through the Federal Reserve banks. Simply flooded the system with money.
And as for the fiat dollar Ponzi scheme, perhaps the greatest Ponzi scheme ever perpetuated on the American people, my take, John Reed Stark, is winter is coming for you. All right, fam, listen, this is your XRP Ripple Daily News in around 0 to 10 minutes. I hope that it has been of value for you. If it has, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you've been hanging out watching the crypto siege and you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos. Remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this idea or notion, perhaps ponder the idea of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.